If you have 500 followers, you are not likely to understand the nuance behind a dissection I do of a content piece of a content creator with millions and millions and millions of followers. Visibility means two different things to the person with 500 followers and to the person with millions of followers. Now I'm discussing visibility with somebody who has less than 1,000 followers. You're either newer to content creation or you've been doing it for quite a long time, but the content hasn't really broken through to a wider audience, largely probably because you're not sharing enough of yourself in the way that you need to be sharing yourself. This is not me saying you should overshare or trauma dump. I'm just saying there's an effective and strategic way of sharing your personality that it reaches the masses and finding what differentiates you just enough and repeating it enough so people can actually find you. And I do a breakdown, for instance, of the video I did of Mikayla Nogueira and her divorce announcement, and I get comments from people who are like, let her do whatever the fuck she wants. Mikayla Nogueira isn't afforded that luxury because she has millions and millions and millions and millions of followers, and you don't understand that version of visibility. Not because you're dumb, not because you're not intellectual, but because it's something you haven't experienced yet. There is far more riding on her visibility as a commodity and as a product that when I work with a client who has mass visibility, there's an extra conversation involved because we have the private person and we've got the public person, but then we have the public's perception of said public person that we really do need to start taking into account. When I'm working with somebody with a smaller account, I treasure and savor the process of helping them translate that private, fractured identity into something that feels more cogent and cohesive so that they feel fucking good in who they share themselves online to be, such that we then build the following. Wonderful. Follower growth at that point is a byproduct. Over here, follower growth is a business. The choices we make in both situations in our content and how we be ourselves and share ourselves publicly are incredibly important. But over here, stakes are higher because, I don't want to say one wrong move and you're fucked, but every choice communicates something. But here, the choices you communicate are more in service of amplifying effectively your authenticity. Over here, that is still the case. And there is now money riding on how people perceive your authenticity, which means extra conversation needs to go into the strategy of it. That's just the fucking truth. When I work with celebrities, when I work with high profile founders or business owners or real estate agents, anybody who's inside of a spotlight and struggles with towing that line between sovereignty, authenticity, agency, and strategy, it's just a conversation. I'm not trying to be an asshole, but if you have 500 followers, you cannot participate in that conversation the same way, not because you can't understand it, not because you don't understand the nuance, but because you've never physically and physiologically and somatically experienced what it's like to have millions and millions and millions of eyeballs on you and need to make more considered decisions because of that fact.